to try to overthrow that country. I mean, this is real. And is this really a double cross? Is this a triple cross? What is the larger plan? There are hundreds of Saudi princes worth billions apiece, some of them over $200 billion apiece. You hear the richest man in the world's Carlos Slim. That's not true. I mean, could it be that actually we're being overtaken? Because England, they had thousands of kids in different cities being raped by Muslims, and they couldn't even report on it because that was seen as racist. Or is political correctness so strong that the left really doesn't understand what's happening? Michael Savage, get more into your book, into the generals, into what you break down, finish up that part, and then please answer my question about what the end game is, who you think these operatives might be, and what you think the establishment's doing. Michael Savage.
You know, your questions are so good, Alex, as usual, that they have answers built into them. And it would be commentary upon your commentary for me to even answer them. You've said it all by asking the question. But, I mean, to embroider on it is about all I can do. The fact of the matter is, either it's by design or by default that Islam is conquering the world. Make no mistake about it. They are conquering the world. We all know about Londonistan. We all know that the most popular young boy's name in England is Muhammad. Now, what sane nation on earth permits this to? How could a nation with such great dignity and great strength, founded by such powerful, crazed men that conquered most of the world, roll over like a bunch of pansies for this? How did this happen? Well, let's go back. The leader who let this happen said himself, I think it was Tony Blair, said, I made a mistake by promoting multiculturalism. He said that 2 years ago, remember? Oh, he made the mistake. Well, have they reversed it? Have they stopped importing Muslims from Pakistan? Have they stopped giving welfare to families with 12 children? Have they stopped the hate preachers from preaching? No, they banned Michael Savage from entering England. Have they said, oops, we're sorry, we didn't mean to ban you? No, they didn't say we're sorry. They didn't give me reparations for having banned me and denied me the access to England and the great dental care that I have been after all my life, or the great cuisine of England. I mean, after all, I can't get fish and chips in America. You know how great their cuisine is, and I can't get my teeth fixed because I can't go to England. The loss here is I love English society, British English society, England. The people I do love, the people are amazing. There's a certain wonderfulness about English people, at least they used to be when I went over there. I miss that. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not the only one banned from entering England. Some brave Israeli generals are banned from entering England. So I'm in very good company, and it's their loss. But the question is not about Michael, not about England. The question is what's coming here. That's all we care about. There's a huge difference between England being taken over in America. And it's both good and bad news. We're all armed to the teeth here. England has no weapons. They were disarmed by their liberals a long time ago, right? So this is the only thing that keeps the psychos, the sorority in the White House in check, is fear of the masses with weapons. But don't worry, they're working on that plan. They got the gangs in the streets of Baltimore, Ferguson, New York, and Philadelphia all riled up. They can always deputize them and give them weapons, or tell them to just bring out their AK-47s, since they already have them somewhere in their mother's closet. So that's not good news. You're asking me what the solution is, Alex? If I knew the solution, it would have happened already. We had an election last November. That was the solution. Elections used to be the place to go. I remember I used to say this on radio 15 years ago. You go to the ballot box or else they're going to go to the bullet box. So we had a way to redress our grievances. We voted. We said, get rid of this bum in the White House. Get rid of the sorority of leftist fanatics. Get rid of the corruption. It stinks to high heaven. He's the most abusive president in American history, not in terms only of his politics, but the abuse of the finances of this administration. He has sullied the White House by inviting one lowlife after another in there for parties we're not even allowed to see. He abuses the taxpayer by flying on Air Force One on any whim without any accountability. What if Bush had gone off on Air Force One as often? Would Mrs. Bush have dared take the Air Force 2 or 3 on a junket with her mother?
Well, look at the Clintons spending half the money they stole from the Haitian kids for their own private jets and hotels and foreign donors. It's all illegal. They are above the law. The entire Democratic Party's above the law. And then John Boehner won't repeal Obamacare. The Supreme Court's about to rule that marriage isn't sanctified. This is a crazy war. And what do all the so-called liberals think they're going to do when they finally crapped in the nest and ruin the country? I mean, these people have a death wish.
Okay, we can agree on that, but that doesn't stop the problem. It doesn't. We had an election last November. The election was supposed to change the course of this society. We said no to the communists running America. We said no to the socialists, the globalists, the Islamists. I call them the Democrat Socialist Islamist Party. That's what the DSI is. That's the Democrat Party is today. Democrat Socialist Islamist Party. I've been saying it for 3 years. And America went to the polls and voted. The next day, the con man, the charlatan in the White House got up and basically said, drop dead. I don't care what you voted on. You ain't seen nothing yet. By the time of the next election, I'll make certain that there's so many immigrants in this country and that the gangs are riled up in the gutters that the white man will no longer have the majority in this country. Then I'll show you what this country really wants.
Classic socialism with an elite in control of 20,000 nuclear weapons and space stations. I mean, it's just totally insane. Listen, if we brought the immigrants in and actually taught them Americana, Renaissance, crazed freedom, it wouldn't be an issue. But literally, I grew up in Dallas. You know, in the 70s and 80s, I've never seen such racial tension, even in the sweet little town Austin. And I'm not whining about it. 3 times the last 2 months, at night, coming out of restaurants, or once down at Barton Springs this Saturday at like 8 at night, I've had black people come up and just threaten me, and then they go threaten the next group of people and bare their teeth at me because I'm white. And I'm like, my God, what country did I just wake up in? How did this happen? I have no bad will against black people. I mean, it's mind control.
Alex, come on, how did it happen? Obama's been working on this from the day he started, him and Holder. Every speech they've given has fanned the flames of racial enmity. I have followed their speeches at colleges and high schools. It's constantly hearkening back to the civil rights movement and how black people used to be in the back of the bus and how your ancestors suffered. We were getting along. We were moving together in this society. There was a relative harmony in this country. And then this administration came along, and we feared what would happen is happening. Alex, you know it's going to get much worse. You know they're ramping it up for the 2016 election. We all see that. You don't have to be an Einstein to see what this man is doing. You know, give him one credit. He's diabolically a genius.
He really is diabolical. And you know, I always say it's an elite running things, but as you know, there's different power structures. This really is a cancerous power structure that actually believes their communist ideology. It's just crazy.
Well, you know, a story just came out over the weekend about Fidel Castro's former bodyguard who said that he gave up on Fidel when he found that he was basically a cocaine dealer. The revolutionary who fought alongside Fidel Castro said that he had to abandon Castro because he found that he was nothing but a drug dealer using Cuba as a transit point, right? In order to fund the revolution. So what does it have to do with here? I don't know. What does it have to do with here? Why are we opening up channels with Cuba all of a sudden? Where'd that come from? Who is really running America and why? But we know it didn't start with Obama. Come on, let's be real, Alex. In the last 3 months of George Bush's reign, I was not invited to the White House. Sean Hannity was, Rush Limbaugh was, and the other members of the Rush Limbaugh cartel. Remember now, on the other side, Alex, there's a cartel as well, and you're a target of theirs, as am I. Am I correct?
Oh, I know. Oh, they're constantly engaged in dirty tricks.
Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, Hannity, they're all represented by Hannity and him and other lesser talkers who no one ever heard of, are represented by Limbaugh's brother. And that's the Rush cartel. They're the establishment Republicans who pretend they're not. They've been carrying water for the Republican Party for as long as I can remember. When Bush was president, they were invited to the White House. Remember that, Alex? Were you invited? I wasn't.
No.
They were given a tour. I wasn't invited, but Hannity went there. Old Hannity went there. They all went in there.
Well, they had private meetings with Bush. But that's the thing. Where does the establishment blue blood country club group think they're going to be in their luxury golf courses when they bring in a violent revolution? How stupid are they? What is their problem?
I don't think they think that far ahead. I think they live for today. They live for the comfort of today, the convenience of today. They believe there's a buffer between them and the masses, and that whatever hits the fan isn't going to hit them. They actually think they're insulated.
Sounds like Marie Antoinette.
Well, yeah, as I said, the guillotines are already being released, you know, and they're getting them ready. And I say that as I don't mean to me.
Well, Matt Drudge, as you know, tweeted that America may fall soon. Now James Dobson is saying that. I mean, the really smart people can see what's going on. You don't have to be that smart now. I mean, this is really historically obvious. And I got to be honest with you, I'm really concerned about. I mean, I don't know how much time we've got left. What else? And then when we get back into your book, what else do you think they might pull in his year and a half left in office?
That's what I was getting at. Remember, toward the end of Bush's regime, it was September of that year, and I called him a fiscal socialist. I've been calling him that for 3-4 months, and I was castigated for it by the Limbaughs and the Hannitys. What do you mean fiscal socialist? They never heard the phrase. Well, that's what Bush was doing, expanding, you know, spending. He went crazy, and I said, you've seen nothing yet. Watch what Bush does in the last 3 months of his regime. And what did he do? He busted the economy and gave us Obama. Remember, Obama was the savior who was going to save us from what had happened to the economy. Remember that?
Yes.
So it was a transition after 8 years of Republican ruin to give us 8 years of Democrat ruin. That's the game, Alex. 8 years one gang, 8 years the other gang, 8 years one gang, 8 years the other gang. Meanwhile, the economy is apparently doing well. Is it? I don't know. We don't know. We don't really know.
No, even with Cook numbers at 0.2%, that's with unlimited free money to the establishment. I think you're right, though, and history shows this. You're a historian. Elites always become decadent and think they're invincible. And
what I'm saying is, you ask what will Obama likely do between now and there's a long time left. It's not just 3 months left. He has a lot of time, so we already see what's coming. The riots. He's got the gangs in the streets on his side. He's got them awakened. He's got them armed. They're armed to the teeth with illegal weapons, aren't they? And so you're going to see more race war right up until the Labor Day of 2016 for an obvious reason. And some conspiracists fear that he's going to declare martial law. I'm not so sure that he needs to, because it doesn't matter whether he's in power or Hillary's in power, or another demon cat. It doesn't matter. O'Malley, whatever his name is. They're all the same. They're cut from the same cloth. They're run by the same controllers. It doesn't matter. They're going to take the street garbage. They're going to take the illegal immigrants, and they're going to warp the entire election. So it doesn't really matter who runs on the other side. So I don't think that it's going to come down to the camps and the internment and martial law. I don't believe so. I think it would upset the economy and the world for him to do that.
Sure, they've got that as an emergency fallback. They've got that as an emergency fallback. But rest assured, if they don't get everything they want, they might have the bravada, or what's a better word, the chutzpah, to push it. I mean, they're bold. Fortune favors the bold. I think they're capable of anything.
Well, they are capable of anything because he's the smoothest con man America's ever seen in the White House. You got to admit he's smooth. He doesn't scream in German. He doesn't march to the Horst Wessel song, does he? But he's performing along the lines of any other petty dictator. We know what he is. We can see it, those of us who can smell it. He is Al Sharpton with a smoother act.
Sure.
So, in other words, strip away the veneer of Obama and look at that street rat, Al Sharpton, and that's who's running the country.
Well, look at how Sharpton's been at the White House over 50 times. I mean, Al Sharpton is a joke, a huge weirdo, gang member, FBI informant, who wears huge leisure suits with long, curly hair. It really is a freak show. It'd be like having Benny Hill as president or something. It just none of it makes sense. Let me ask you this. I want to get back into the book here. Michael Savage is our guest. Michael Savage, Countdown to Mecca, because that's the other big wild card. Is ISIS running around, stirred up by our ally Saudi Arabia. You've got the whole new Cold War getting kicked off. You've got all these public statements about the Tea Party's the main enemy and gun owners are the main enemy and veterans are the main enemy. And then meanwhile, we just mentioned 5 weeks ago, hey, Jade Helm lists Texas as the enemy in Utah and Orange County. And then here's these training manuals that says, it's even in Forbes and AP that the military is trying to take on the veterans of the Tea Party. We have a concern. So they have literally hundreds of publications a day saying